There are a number of ways in which you can avoid having your assets go through probate. The easiest one, which can be used for retirement accounts, annuities, insurance policies, etc., is to simply designate beneficiaries. If there is a beneficiary designated for that particular asset, then that passes outside of probate. Some accounts, brokerage accounts, bank accounts, and this is state dependent, allow you to do a pay on death or transfer on death designation, whereas at the time you die, the asset is simply transferred to your heir, to the beneficiary, and that passes outside of probate. However, the main thing used to avoid probate in estate planning is a revocable trust. This is a trust you can put assets into and take out at any time. It's sometimes called a living trust. It doesn't really provide any asset protection, since you can take the assets out at any time and pay them to your creditors, but it does avoid probate. So if you've seen your grandparents or other elderly people that have done some estate planning, oftentimes you will see that when they write you a check, it's written from a bank account that is owned by a trust. And that's the reason why. They're just trying to avoid probate with those assets. An irrevocable trust also avoids probate. Those assets all pass outside of probate, but it has some additional asset protection and estate planning benefits. The downside, of course, is that it's irrevocable. You can't just take the assets out anytime you like and use them on yourself. You have to follow the provisions of the trust. Joint ownership is another way to avoid probate. For example, if you and your child own a house, when you die, your child can get the entire house. The downside of that, of course, is they don't get the step up in basis at death. So there may be more taxes involved when they go to sell that house down the road. Not always the best move, but it certainly avoids probate. And then, of course, if you have a particularly small estate, in most states, there is a minimum amount that your estate has to be worth before you have to go through probate. If it's smaller than that, you may be able to avoid the process completely. I hope that's helpful in your quest to avoid the expensive and time-consuming process of probate for your heirs.
My dad, your host, Dr. Dahl, is a practicing emergency physician, blogger, author, and podcaster. He is not a licensed accountant, attorney, or financial advisor, so this podcast is for your entertainment and information only and should not be considered official, personalized financial advice.